Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching this video. I'm going to prove to you why the Detroit Pistons should have played this thing out this season. It didn't have to go the way it went, and who knows if what they did is going to strategically, or what they allegedly did is going to strategically help them out in this upcoming draft. I'm hearing a lot of Pistons fans and a lot of Pistons YouTubers and a lot of people around the league are talking about Victor and Scoot, and I don't think that's the route the Pistons need to go, and I'm gonna prove it to you here in this video, so stay tuned. So first of all, what I want to do is take a look at each one, not each one, but some of the members of the 2023 NBA All-Star game, and I'm not including the first picks of the draft or like the top 2 or 3 picks of the draft, and I'm going to show you why the Detroit Pistons should have went another route about this and played this thing out. So first of all, we got Domantas Sabonis. He was picked 2016 in the first round as the 11th pick, currently with the Sacramento Kings. Pascal Siakam of the Toronto Raptors, 2016 round 1, pick 27. Back-to-back MVP winner Nikola Jokic, 2014 round 2, pick 41. De'Aaron Fox of the Sacramento Kings, 2017 first round pick, pick number 5. Here's a kicker for you. Paul George, 2010 first round pick, pick number 10. Indiana Pacers. Here's another one for you, another MVP winner. Steph Curry, 2009 first round pick, pick number 7. I believe he won multiple MVP titles. This guy's going off right now. I felt the Pistons should have picked him up. Julius Randle, 2014 first round pick, pick number 7. Currently balling out for the New York Knicks. Here's another one for you. Tyrese Halliburton, 2020 round 1 first round pick, pick number 12. Got traded. He was with Sacramento. Jrue Holiday won the title with the Milwaukee Bucks. Been around the league for a while. 2009 first round pick, pick number 17. Here's one Pistons fans keep calling for. SGA, 2018 first round pick, pick number 11. Here's a defensive player for you. Bam Adebayo of the Miami Heat, 2017 round 1 first round pick number 14. And here's a real good kicker for you too. Donovan Mitchell, currently with the Cleveland Cavaliers, 2017 first round pick number 17. Lauri Markkanen, 2017 first round pick number 7. Here's another player that's won MVP and a championship. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 2013 round 1 pick number 15. Here's another player lighting it up. Damian Lillard, who's probably gonna score 80 points in a game soon or more than that. 2012 first round pick number 6. All those are members of this most recent NBA All-Star team. Furthermore, to prove my point, and I'm going to go over this list that I have for your Golden State Warriors, reigning NBA champions. Juan Toscano Anderson, 2015 undrafted. Nemanja Bjelica, sorry, I know I butchered his name, but point is 2010 second round pick, number 35. Defensive Player of the Year a few times. Draymond Green. 2012 second round pick number 35. Andre Iguodala. 2004 first round pick number 9. Jonathan Kuminga. 2021 first round pick number 7. Damian Lee. 2016 undrafted. Kevon Looney, who I felt the Pistons should have made an offer in this past free agency class. 2015 first round pick number 30. Moving on. Moses Moody, 2021 first round pick number 14. Gary Payton the second. I'm sorry. I know they got a third probably coming somewhere down the line. Gary Payton II, undrafted, 2016. Here's one for you. Jordan Poole, 2019 first round pick number 28. Klay Thompson, 2011 first round pick 11. And rounding out this list, Stephen Curry, 2019 first round pick number 7. All members of the Golden State Warriors dynasty. The Golden State Warriors that just won the NBA championship once again. So I ask you, do the Pistons really need to shoot to get that top draft pick? The verdict is still out on our past 2 first round picks that we picked high and actually had the number 1 pick on. And I'm wishing them the best. I'm just saying that this time around we should have just played this thing out, let these players develop, and let the chips fall where they may. You agree with me? Let me know in the comment section. You disagree with me? Let me know in the comment section as well. Now, here's my point. Playing this thing out, these are players that they could draft, and I put them in the stack of order on preference, my personal preference. Okay? These are options as a plan where we don't draft Victor or Scoot. And shout out also to Pistons Mike. Pistons Mike is one that I believe really goes in on exploring players for the upcoming draft class for the Detroit Pistons. He's really on it. I commend him. I think you should check it out. But he keeps it banging with potential players that the Pistons should sign or should look at. He stays on it a lot. So it's Pistons Mike. Another one is Motor City Sports Talk as well. They tend to stay on the Pistons, especially Motor City Sports Talk as far as the Detroit Lions are concerned. He stays on them as well in season and out of season, so they're both consistent. But this video we're talking about the Detroit Pistons, and like I said before, Pistons Mike has a huge buffet of players that are going to be in this upcoming draft, and he asked should the Pistons take a look at them or not. So go check him out. He has a lot of highlights of footage of these guys. But going on my list now, and this is the order that I would look at. Any of these guys will be suitable for the Detroit Pistons. If Zach Edey decides to come to go into the NBA draft at 7'4", 295-pound center out of Purdue, played with Jaden Ivey, and you see his averages there: 22.1 points per game, 13.1 points per game, 1.5 assists per game, shooting 61.6% from the field. If he comes out and declares for the draft, he will move higher as far as my players that I would take a look at drafting. But the reason he's so low is because there's the possibility that he does not come out this season. Next up is a guard, and this guard is Skylar Potter, 6'3", 198, out of Jacksonville State. You see his numbers there: 14.2 points a game, 4.9 rebounds per game, and 1.7 assists per game. Rebound total is pretty high for a guard. We do have a heavily stacked roster as far as guards are concerned, but we still don't know how those guys are going to pan out. So if anything, we could possibly put him with the Motor City Cruise in the G League for the Detroit Pistons. Next up, and I'm high on this guy right here. He's out of a smaller base college. Morrell Jordan, 6'2", 170-pound guard, averaging 18.9 points per game, 5.7 rebounds per game, which is high for a guard, and 3.2 assists per game. The reason I'm going for some of these guys that you don't hear about in the mainstream sports media is you got to have role players on your team as well as superstars. So some of these guys could come in and be role players, but I do think he will be a good addition to the Detroit Pistons, one of the hidden gems. Next up, and like I said before, shout out for us drafting Isaiah Livers, but we tend to pass over a lot of homegrown talent. And I didn't put Hunter Dickinson in here because I believe we do have that center position sold up. I mean, we got three guys in Wiseman, Noel, and Duran, and you know, basically we're pretty stacked with the center position. But there's a couple in here that are possible to add to the team as well. Sorry about that. Lost my train of thought there for a second. But yeah, we seem to have the center position sold up with Bagley, Duran, and Wiseman. So I wouldn't go looking for another center right away. But we do need another skilled big in the paint. Anyway, moving down to forward, which is a position that we need. We need some defensive players. We need some forwards that are able to come in and light things up and make things exciting. I was kind of mad when we got rid of Kevin Knox II. Hopefully he can find his way back to Detroit. I believe he's a free agent. But I would love to see him back in the Detroit Pistons uniform. I don't believe he was utilized the way he should have been. He's a superstar in the making. Just give him a couple of years. He was once compared to Kevin Durant. And I think if he falls in the right position in the right place, he'll show that to everyone. Moving on to the list, though, like I said, homegrown talent. Joey Hauser, 6'9", 220-pound forward out of Michigan State, averaging 14.1 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, and 1.9 assists per game. He will be a player I would like to see added to the Detroit Pistons roster. And this is one of my favorites here. His numbers don't say it all, but he has that attitude and that grit like Rick Mahorn and Dennis Rodman. And if he declares, you know, I wouldn't say use a top pick for him, but if you could somehow swing some kind of deal to get him to the Detroit Pistons, that's Mason Gillis out of Purdue, 6'6", 230-pound forward, averaging 6.3 points per game, 3.6 rebounds per game, and 1.1 assists per game. And like I said, he's not lighting it up from a stat standpoint, but he has a toughness that you need to have on this roster. We got to get some players that are tough and hard-nosed, and I believe he's that kind of player that can go out there and bang in the paint and just be a nuisance for the opponents. Moving on, this is another favorite of mine right here. Justin Johnson, forward, 6'6", 185 pounds, out of University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. Averaging 20.6 points per game, 5.2 rebounds per game, and 3.1 assists per game. That will be a good pickup for the Pistons as well. Another big will be Ben Stanley, forward, 6'7", 235, out of Old Dominion, averaging 9.7 points per game, 3.8 rebounds per game, and 3 assists per game. Like I say, it's the same thing as Mason Gillis. He's not lighting the world up from a stat standpoint, but he has a big body and is pretty tough. And, you know, could come in and be a role player. And like I said before, when I listed those all-stars, none of those guys were setting the world on fire in college. except maybe one or two, but look what they turned into in the NBA. Moving on. Now this is the meat of the players that I would like to see us draft. Tanner Groves, old style, big player, kind of like Bill Laimbeer, 6'10", 240 pounds. His numbers dropped off a little bit from what they were his past year at Oklahoma, averaging 9.7 points per game, 6.9 rebounds per game, 1.5 assists per game, shooting 52.9% from the field. I believe he will be a great addition to the Detroit Pistons as well. If we could somehow pull like a same deal that we pulled to get Jalen Duren in Detroit, and we get Tanner Groves in Detroit, I think that'll be a big addition. Like I say, he's a hard-nosed, old-school style player, something that the Detroit Pistons could use. Now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. I know we got guards, but we don't have a guard like this. Hunter Maldonado out of Wyoming. 6'7", 202-pound guard. I mean, that's a big guard right there. Averaging 15.3 points per game, 4.8 rebounds per game, and 4.1 assists per game. And that would be an excellent pickup, so I would consider him. If we do wind up having a couple of draft picks or somehow swinging the deal, maybe getting 3 draft picks, I will most definitely have him high on my list. And here's another player for you here that I'm looking at is Leaky Black, forward, 6'9", 205. And once again, he's not lighting the world up with his stats, but I see similarity between him and Kobe Bryant. This is one of the players that I've seen that closely resembles the style of play that Kobe Bryant had. And like I said, he's not putting up those great numbers, but I do see the potential there with him. So hopefully that is a player that the Pistons can look at. I'm quite sure he's going to get drafted by someone. I don't know at what position, but he will be up there on the watch list for me if I was Troy Weaver and the Detroit Pistons. Like I said, he's out of North Carolina, 6'9", 205, averaging 7.4 points per game, 6.4 rebounds per game, 1.5 assists per game, shooting 43.5% from the field. And he's a player just like the other one I had, Jordan Usher, that was out of Georgia Tech, and he didn't get drafted, but you'll see Jordan Usher in the NBA, mark my word, and Leaky Black will wind up being a superstar, and you can add him to the list of those players that I just named to you from the current from this past All-Star game. He'll be one in the years to come. Getting down to my final 3. Now these are players that I would consider looking at 100% and drafting if they're available in that first round. Number 1 is Jose Perez. I've had him there for the Pistons for a while, but he was playing at Manhattan and transferred over to West Virginia, and I guess they had some issues with eligibility, not because of grades or anything like that, but just something screwy was going on with that situation. So if he's available, he's a capable guard. He's able to play guard and forward. I've seen him. Pretty good ball player. And his last season, because he's been sitting out this season, was with Manhattan, where he averaged 18.9 points per game, 3.2 rebounds per game, 4.5 assists per game. Now he plays in a way that we would love. Put it this way: if you had him and Cade Cunningham in the backcourt together, that's going to be pretty dangerous with those two, because they both have a similar style of play. They're fast. They're they have very good court vision, and you can see by the assist total, they're 4.5 assists per game while averaging 18.9 points per game. Jose Perez is it. He is it. So don't sleep on him. If there's anybody out there that's looking or works with the team in the draft, don't overlook that guy. Now getting down to the 2 that we must draft, one of these 2 players right here. Number 2 is Trace Jackson Davis out of University of Indiana. And I know Michigan fans that had a lot of exposure to him when they played against Michigan State and the University of Michigan. But he's a big 6'9", 245-pound big body that he just destroys it in the paint, averaging 20.3 points per game, a whopping averaging a double-double in college with Indiana, 20.3 points per game, 11.1 rebounds per game, 3.8 assists per game, which is pretty big for a big fella like that. Shooting 57.4% from the field. He will be on my board as one of the players that I draft in the first round. No questions asked about that one at all. And the number one player I believe the Detroit Pistons should draft, that's going to make a major difference and fit in right away, and probably would add at least 10 wins to the record right off the bat, is Armando Bacot, forward center out of University of North Carolina. This guy has it and gets after it, and I'm telling you right now, he would immediately step in and be the face of this franchise. You'll see a lot of him in this NCAA tournament coming up, but he's 6'11", 235, averaging 16.5 points per game, 10.8 rebounds per game, 1.4 assists per game, and he's great on defense. I mean, he's a shot blocker. Guy's just dynamite, averaging 55.3, shooting 55.3% from the field. I'm sorry, out of University of North Carolina, and we know how us Michigan fans feel about North Carolina. We don't like North Carolina at all. Got beat by them too much, but that would be who I would go in on for our first round pick if he's available, regardless if we pick number 1, number 3, number 5, or whatever we pick. That's the way to go right there. And I'm sure we're going to have people arguing and saying, no way you choose him over a couple of other guys that's been mentioned. But no, you go with what you need here. And like I said, he'd bring lots of at least 10 more wins per this upcoming season if we draft him. So there you have it. That's just my list. And like I said, these are my top 3. You draft these 3. If you get all 3 of them together, man, this is going to be one of the quickest turnarounds in NBA history. If you get 2 of them, it's still going to be pretty good. But if you get 1 of them, the one out of the 3 I would go after would be Armando Bacot, followed by Trayce Jackson-Davis or Jose Perez. So leave in the comments, let me know what you think. Like and share this video. Appreciate it. I'm out of here.